Pause this video right now and look at this student. Second, from the left. Remember his face? Because in exactly 47 seconds, I'm going to show you his death certificate dated 3 months before this photo was taken. This isn't a ghost story. This isn't paranormal. This is something far worse. By the end of this video, you will see the original death certificate that proves the impossible, the handwritten letter that exposed the entire conspiracy, and the reason why an entire town agreed to lie for 100 years. But first, let me show you something that will make your skin crawl. These are the original records from the Millbrook County Archives. I spent 3 weeks requesting these files. What you're about to see has never been shown on YouTube before. Thomas Mitchell Henderson died March 15, 1923. Cause of death, drowning. Millbrook Academy class photo, taken June 8, 1923. Do you see the problem here? Thomas is in this photo 3 months after he supposedly drowned. Now, here's where this gets disturbing. I contacted the Millbrook Historical Society about this. They told me there must be a mistake in the records. But then I found 5 more students, 5 more dead children in that same photo. And when I tried to call back, the Historical Society said they had no record of my previous call. These weren't just names on a page. These were children, 13, 14, 15 years old, with families, with friends, with entire lives that someone decided to erase. And before you think this is some clerical error, let me show you what I found in the basement of Thomas Henderson's childhood home. This letter was written by Thomas's mother in 1924, 1 year after he supposedly died. Listen to this. My dear sister, Thomas is settling well into his new school in California. The headmaster assures us that his identity will remain protected as agreed. The monthly payments continue as promised. New school, new identity. Monthly payments. This wasn't a death. This was a relocation program. So I started digging deeper. And what I found will make you question everything you think you know about missing children cases. Between 1920 and 1925, 17 children from Millbrook Academy officially died in accidents. Drowning, falls, sudden illness. But here's the thing, not one of them had a funeral. Not one family mourned publicly. And every single family moved away within 6 months. You know what's terrifying? This program might still exist. Last month, I received this email from someone claiming to be a descendant of one of these families. They said their grandfather told them stories about the school that made children disappear. I've been trying to verify this person's identity for weeks, but every time I get close, they go silent. But let me show you exactly how deep this conspiracy goes, because what I'm about to reveal will prove that this wasn't just about one school. First, the financial records. I found bank transfers from a government account to the families, each payment, exactly $500. In 1923, that's equivalent to $7,500 today. Second, the railway tickets. Every family that moved away, they all took the same train line to the same 3 destinations. Third, the school records. Millbrook Academy reported the same enrollment numbers for 5 straight years, despite losing 17 students to death. So I mapped out every disappearance, every death date, every family relocation. And I discovered something that made me physically sick to my stomach. They were taking the smartest kids. Thomas Henderson, top of his mathematics class. Sarah Morrison, spoke 4 languages at age 14. Every single child who died was intellectually gifted. This wasn't random. This was selection. And then I found the smoking gun. A document from the Department of Education dated March 1923. The subject line reads, Special Placement Program, Exceptional, Students, Classification, Confidential. The document is heavily redacted. But what I can read says this. Selected candidates will be relocated to specialized facilities for advanced development. Families will be compensated for cooperation. Public records will be adjusted accordingly. Public records will be adjusted accordingly. They're admitting to falsifying death certificates. I've been working on this case for 6 months now. My research has consumed my life. Because the more I dig, the more I realize this wasn't just about 17 kids from one school. I found similar patterns in Ohio, in Oregon, in Texas, always rural schools, always gifted children, always the same cover story. And here's what keeps me awake at night. If they were doing this in 1923, what makes you think they stopped? 800,000 children go missing in America every year. Most are found, but about 2,000 simply vanish without a trace. No evidence, no leads, no body. What if some of them aren't missing? What if they're being relocated, just like Thomas Henderson was 100 years ago? What if the program never ended, just got better at hiding? I need your help with something. In the comments below, I want you to research your own local history. Look for patterns like this. Gifted children who died in accidents with no funerals, families who moved away immediately after. Schools that maintained enrollment despite student deaths. If you find anything suspicious, email me the details. Because I have a feeling Millbrook Academy wasn't the only school involved in this program. Actually, let me show you something that happened 3 days ago. I received this message from someone with a Gov email address. Mr. Vanguard Vault. Your recent inquiries about historical education programs have been noted. We suggest you focus your research on publicly available information only. They didn't identify themselves. They didn't explain how they got my contact information, but they knew exactly what I was investigating. The fact that someone in the government is watching my research tells me everything. I need to know about how deep this goes. Look at Thomas Henderson's face one more time. Really look at him. He was 14 years old when they faked his death and shipped him across the country. He never saw his friends again. He never came home for holidays. His entire identity was erased so completely that for 100 years, the world believed he drowned in Millbrook Creek. But he didn't drown. He was stolen. And so were 16 other children from that same school. Remember those train tickets I mentioned? I finally tracked down the railway company, shipping manifests from 1923, and what I found in those records will haunt me forever. The children weren't just being relocated, they were being shipped like cargo. No names on the manifests, just ages, gender, and a classification system I don't understand. Type A7, Type B3, Type C1. They were categorizing these kids like livestock. So I started investigating where those trains were going. The primary destination was a remote facility in Colorado. Officially, it was called the Mountain View Educational Institute. I drove there last month. The buildings are still standing, abandoned now, but you can see the dormitories, the classrooms, the testing facilities, and in the basement, I found something that proves everything I've been telling you. Carved into the concrete walls were names. Hundreds of names. Children's names with dates spanning from 1923 to 1963. Thomas Henderson's name is there, along with every other child from that Millbrook Academy photo. But here, what made me run out of that basement in terror, some of the dates were from the 1980s. This program didn't end in 1925. It continued for decades. 3 weeks after I posted about finding that facility on my research blog, someone broke into my car. Nothing was stolen, but all of my Colorado research files were gone. The next day, I got a call from someone claiming to be from the local police. They wanted to know why I was asking questions about classified historical sites. I never told anyone I went to Colorado except in that blog post. So how did they know? So I realized I needed to be more careful. I started using secure methods to research other similar facilities, and what I discovered is absolutely terrifying. This wasn't just one program at one facility in Colorado. There were dozens of them, all across the country, all taking gifted children, all using the same fake death cover story. The Mountain View Institute was just one node in a massive network that operated for over 40 years. But here's where the story gets incredible. Last month, I was contacted by someone named Robert Chen. He's 87 years old now. And he claims he was one of the children taken in this program. Robert says he was killed in a factory accident in 1942, but actually relocated to a facility in Nevada. He spent 12 years there before being released with a completely new identity. And he's not the only survivor I've found. Kay sent me this letter describing his experience. I'm going to read you just one paragraph, And I warn you, it's disturbing. They tested us constantly. Intelligence tests, physical tests, psychological evaluations. Children who didn't meet their standards simply disappeared. We were told they were transferred to other facilities, but we knew. We always knew. He's describing what sounds like a selection process. They weren't just relocating gifted children. They were experimenting on them. I submitted Freedom of Information requests for any records related to these facilities. After 6 months of legal battles, I received 47 pages of documents. Every single page was completely blacked out, except for headers and page numbers. The government's official position is that these facilities never existed. But I have photographs. I have survivor testimony. I have death certificates that don't match reality. Why would they still be covering this up if it ended decades ago? Let's go back to where we started. This innocent school photo from 1923. When you look at it now, what do you see? I see 17 children who were stolen from their families and fed into a system designed to erase their very existence. I see parents who were paid to stay silent about their children's disappearance. And I see proof that our government has been taking gifted children for over 100 years. I'm going to continue investigating this story, but I need your help. If you or anyone in your family has stories about unusually gifted children who died young in suspicious circumstances, especially between 1920 and 1980, please reach out to me. Use encrypted email. Don't use your real name initially. Because based on my experience, someone is still watching these cases very closely. Before I end this video, let me show you one more thing I discovered just yesterday. This is a personnel file from the Mountain View Institute, dated 1961. It's a job posting for youth acquisition specialists. The job description mentions identifying and relocating exceptional minors for specialized development programs. This document is from 1961, but the scary part, the letterhead shows it was printed on modern laser printer paper. This document was created recently, but backdated to look historical. Someone is still actively managing information about this program, which means it might still be happening. Think about it. If you wanted to continue this program in the modern era, how would you do it? You couldn't fake deaths anymore. There's too much oversight, but you could. Create gifted programs that identify exceptional children, offer scholarships to exclusive private schools, tell parents their child has been selected for a special opportunity, and if the parents ask too many questions, well, there are ways to handle that too. I'm going to keep investigating this story, but I need to know you're with me. If this video suddenly disappears, or if my channel gets deleted, I need you to know that means I was getting too close to the truth. Subscribe right now and hit that notification bell. Not just because you want to see more content, but because you want to be part of exposing something that has been hidden for over a century. Your subscription might be the only thing that keeps me safe while I continue this investigation. Actually, there's one more thing I need to tell you before this video ends. As I was editing this footage last night, I received another email from that gov address I mentioned earlier. This time, the message was different. It said, "Some stories are better left buried. Consider this your final warning." The email was sent at 2:47 a.m. Nobody knew I was working on this video at that time. Nobody except, well, I guess someone has been monitoring my internet activity more closely than I realized. I'm going to publish this video despite the warnings, cause Thomas Henderson deserves to have his story told. All of those children deserve to have their stories told. But if something happens to me, if I suddenly disappear or stop posting videos, I want you to remember this name, Project Mindbridge. That's what Robert Chen told me this program was called internally. Project Mindbridge. Look it up. Research it. Don't let this story die with me. And whatever you do, don't let them convince you it's just a conspiracy theory. Because I have the proof. And now, so do you. Subscribe for the truth.